Hello, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to talk about action step ideas, actionable things that you can do to achieve your goals. And this video is specifically about finance and money related goals. But before we get into that, I need to give you a little bit of background information. So last year on my channel, I did a series very similar to this, where I took 6 goal categories, goal topics, and I shared a ton of information about each one. I gave you 10 action step ideas for that specific type of goal. I gave you 5 questions to ask yourself when you are picking action steps for that goal. I gave you a book recommendation for that specific type of goal, and then a general action step tip that you could apply to any type of goal. And maybe I need to go combine all of those, like all 6 of the action step ideas, into their own video so you don't have to go rewatch all of them. But all in all, those videos were packed. They were packed with information, and I know a lot of you found those videos helpful because then when I asked for video ideas for this year, I got a lot of requests that said, I want to follow up to that series. I want more action step ideas. I want a part 2. So I thought about what part 2 would look like, and originally I thought, well, let's just do more like different types of goals. But in reality, the categories that I did last year are the most common goals. Those are the most common goals that you still have on a regular basis, regardless of how jam-packed with information those videos were. So what I decided to do was, for the month of November, I took the top 4 from those 6 videos based on views. So which 4 had the most views, which in turn, I am making the assumption relates to the 4 most common goal categories. And what I did is I asked my community for their help, and I asked for them to share actual goals and actual action steps. That sounds funny to say, but action steps that they themselves set for these various goal categories. And man, did they deliver. Y'all, I am so freaking excited about these videos. I feel like I've mentioned it in a multitude of videos leading up to this because I just think that these videos are going to be so valuable for you to go back and reference. Even if you're watching it right now when it goes live in November, maybe you get an action step idea or 2 to carry you throughout the end of the year. But when it comes to setting our goals in December, I think that these lists are going to be so incredibly valuable when you are breaking down any one of these goals. So in each of these videos, for each goal topic, goal category, I'm going to share the actual goals that they set, and they kind of all end up falling into different categories. Like for each overarching category, there's then categories within that, but I'm gonna share all of the goals that they set, which are so, I think it's just so valuable to hear what other people set for their actual overarching goal. And then I'm gonna go through one-time action items, weekly action items, and daily action item ideas for each of the categories. And you'll notice some categories lean way heavier in one of the sections than the other, which is completely expected. But there are at least 10, I mean, I'm looking, there's at least 10, if not more, ideas in each of the buckets. So I am hoping that you walk away with so many ideas. Again, even if you're walking away with jotting down ideas for 2024, or you're saving these videos for reference, and I still recommend the videos from last year too. So if that is a goal that you didn't have, that you have now, I'll leave all those linked down below as well. But let's talk about these. So like I said, this week is gonna be finance, money, and then we've got 3 more categories to go. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss those videos as well. For fun, I thought I would share of all the community members that filled out this survey, which was completely anonymous, by the way. I don't know which goal aligns with which person. 80% of them had a finance or money-based goal. So let's get into the overarching goals. Okay, last thing I'll say, I feel like this has been the world's longest intro. I'm going through a lot. I'm gonna say a lot of things. This might be one of those videos that you don't watch at a 1.5 or 2 times speed. If you're one of those people like me who watches all YouTube at a faster speed, you might have to pause it and rewind to like go back and jot things down. Just letting you know, because I'm basically just going to be reading through a list. I might add a commentary here and there, but it's not going to be like, I'm not gonna go into each one in depth. So the first major category that a lot of finance related goals fell into, which doesn't surprise me, is debt. So here are some of the goals that community members set related to that category. So some wrote pay off all debt. They wanted to get rid of all debt. Some wrote eliminate credit card debt. They were specific on the type of debt. Some said just to lower debt, just have a lower number than at the beginning of the year. Some said a specific number, so pay off X amount of dollars in debt. One person said pay off half of my consumer debt. One person said pay down my student loans. Once again, specific about the kind of debt, but not specific in terms of the dollar amount. One said pay all outstanding student loans. And the last one put not acquiring more debt. And I really like that one. Maybe you're not in a place to actually lower the number, but you want to make sure that it doesn't get higher. All right, the next big category related to finances was saving. Some put save for something specific. So maybe they didn't put a certain amount of money, but they said save for a vacation, save for a house, something along those lines. Then some people combined those two things and put, I want to save X amount of money for something specific. Some people put, I just want to save money each month, which is I am here for some of these vague goals, especially with something like finances. It can be tempting, like you have to have a numerical based goal, but it could just be, I want to end up at the end of the month where my expenses were lower than my income and I'm saving each month. Some people put a certain amount each month, right? I want to save X amount each month. Some people put, I want to put X amount into an emergency fund, which is just another specific form of savings. And then one person put, I want to save enough to cover 6 months of expenses in an emergency fund. I also really quickly want to comment on that one. I watched a podcast. That sounds funny, but it was a podcast that I will follow the YouTube channel. I watch it on YouTube instead of listen to it on a podcast app. But they were talking about the difference between saving for your expenses in an emergency fund standpoint, saving for expenses versus saving for income replacement. Because a lot of people, myself included, think of an emergency fund as a job loss fund. If I lost my job tomorrow, this is the fund I would dip in to cover my expenses. And so whether you're looking at that as I want my income replacement or my expenses is going to be a very different number, right? If I lost my job, which is hard to do when you work for yourself, but if I had $0 in income in my business tomorrow, I would cut certain expenses, right? And so it's just a different way to think about it when you're thinking about saving for an emergency fund. By the way, I want to make sure that you also know, I feel like, man, I wish I'd said this at the beginning. None of this is like right or wrong. These are not like good goals or bad goals. These are just goals that people have set. And I just want you to hear all the different options and examples and hope that it sparks something for you, or maybe even gives you permission to set the goal that you want to set and not set a goal that you feel like you have to be setting, if that makes sense. All right, the next major finance goal category was spending/budgeting. So lots and lots and lots of goals that were to track my spending, have a realistic budget, stay within budget each month, do a low spend or a no spend, or spend money responsibly. I like that one too. And then the last category is just sort of other. These were ones that were finance, budget related, that didn't fall into any of these general categories, and I feel like I couldn't really lump them together. But once again, I hope that these may spark ideas for you when you're setting your next set of finance related goals. So somebody put, just to prioritize my finances, write my will, make a retirement plan, get my shit together, make financial choices aligned with my values, organize my financial files, have better money management habits, create financial stability, and set up financial systems. So some of those were similar in terms of like habits and systems, but those are just some more general finance money goal ideas. Now let's move into the action steps. So we're gonna start with one-time action step ideas. Once again, I am just gonna run through the list of ideas. I'm not like linking them up to any particular goal. I'm hoping that they just give you ideas of different action steps, the one-time steps that you can take related to your finance goals. So here we go. Add husband to bank account, review 2022 finances, calculate monthly expenses, set up automated bill payments, and then another one was set up automated deductions, shop around for home insurance, consolidate cell phone bills, file my taxes, set up budget and YNAB, which is an online budgeting software, happens to also be the one that I use. I absolutely love it. I can't remember if I did a whole video on that. I think I talked about it in a favorites video. I'll find that and leave it linked. I used to budget in a spreadsheet. It was fantastic when it was just me. Once it became me and my husband, especially two people who work for themselves, we needed to be in a more digital, pulls in the expenses for me kind of system. So we use YNAB and I love it. Apply for parental leave, organize retirement accounts, plan for pension buyback, plan for tax deficit, Cancel unnecessary subscriptions. Use the things I already have. I've set that goal before. Educate myself. I love that one. Create a spreadsheet with all debt. Oh, tracking that debt pay down. I also had a debt pay down spreadsheet when I was paying off consumer debt. Transfer extra money to savings each month. Figure out recurring expenses. Roll over my retirement account. Split my mortgage into 2 payments. Create my will. I think I had that one twice. Oh, actually, I think one was like the overarching goal, and then one person had it as their like monthly step. Monthly budget, pay off a certain amount of debt, purchase a budget planner, save a certain amount per paycheck, put savings in a different bank account, sell our house, stop using credit cards, and then track spending. So many ideas. All right, let's move into weekly action items, which there are a lot on this list, but there were also a lot of duplicates. Like people had very similar weekly action items for finance. Budget check-ins, enter expenses, check bank account balance, pay off credit card, check in with budget. Then somebody else had check in with budget 2 times, which I think that's great. If you are somebody who wants to do it more than just weekly, but maybe you don't want to do it daily, or you don't feel like you need to do it daily, you could do it 2 or 3 times per week. Complete budget tracking, complete 1 task off my financial to-do list, have a no spend week, limit dining out, limit monthly spending, only eat out once per week, plan bills for the week, prep the house to sell, reconcile all of my accounts, record all of my spending, save money each week, then save a specific amount of money each week, financial meeting with my husband, deposit money into savings, 1 spending day per week. I thought that one was interesting. And then use debit card only. All right, and now it's time for the daily ones. Once again, by the time we get to the daily, the list is gonna be a lot shorter. This is gonna be true for all the categories, because there's a lot of overlap. Like people have the same types of dailies. There are only so many daily action step ideas for any given category. So first one, be aware of daily spending. I like that, just being aware of it. Somebody just put the word budget. Budget can also mean so many different things. I would encourage you to get as specific as possible with your action step ideas, but if you know what it means and it works for you, go for it. Check bank account, no buy or no spend days, no spend in certain categories. I really like this. I feel like at some point I've probably talked about the concept of a no spend. It really is, it becomes an all or nothing kind of mindset, which most of the time doesn't pan out for us. So if you're gonna do a no spend, I would encourage you first off to let go of the fact that you're probably gonna miss a day, right? It's not gonna be perfect and that's okay. But at the same time, if you can focus on the specific categories that you struggle in, that usually works out better. Or the other option I've encouraged people to do is a lower spend. And this is coming from starting where you're at. Are you really ever gonna go all the way down to 0? And maybe you are. Maybe there's a category that you really do wanna get down to 0. And if that's the case, I still would encourage you to drop it lower. Let's say there's a category you're spending on average $100 a month, which by the way, when we talk about finance goals, I do always recommend tracking first. I think I talked about that in last year's video. Start with tracking so you do know your numbers and you know where you're at. I also think it's easier to track going forward than to retroactively go back and look at numbers. So if you're starting with finance goals, start tracking now. Start today, track your numbers, and then you can utilize that data when you're making other decisions. If you put all this pressure on yourself to go back and get prior numbers, it can be a lot and you might not ever actually do it. Anyways, let's say you're spending $100 in a specific category. Instead of saying, okay, next month I am gonna go on a no spend and spend 0, make it lower. Cut it in half, say I'm gonna spend 50. That's still better than 100, right? And then work your way down to whatever number it is that feels good to you. And once again, maybe it is 0, maybe you're working towards that 0, or maybe you're just trying to get to a number that you feel comfortable or that fits into your budget better on a monthly basis. More daily action items. Enter expenses, monitor spending, wait a day before making a purchase. I like that one. Pack a lunch. I like the ones that are kind of like specific to helping you spend less money depending on whatever you typically spend on. And the last one is to stay within budget. So that was a lot of action step ideas for finance goals. If there are any other action step ideas that you have used in the past for yourself that we didn't talk about in this video, I would love for you to share in the comments below. And you are feeling incredibly overwhelmed about how to take all of these ideas and actually like concretely turn them into progress in 2024, I want you to consider signing up for my workshop series that is coming in December. This is the first time I'm talking about it in a video, so I'm like, well, I'm like not even prepared on what I want to say about it. I am so excited. I have done this in some capacity over the last couple of years, and it's always been a part of Patreon, which was the old platform that I had my community on. We've since moved the community over to Teachable, and one thing that I wanted to do this year was pull this workshop out of the community. Now, community members, don't worry, you're gonna get a massive discount on the workshop, so do not fret. I just wanted the community experience to still be the same consistently in December as it is every month. And I want this workshop to be available to anybody that feels like they need that support setting up their goals for the new year. So it's gonna be a 3-part workshop. I am gonna be teaching them live, but as always, you will have access to the replays if you need them. So if you can't attend them live, you can watch the replays. And as always, or has been the last couple of years, and all of my goal setting sessions that are within the community, these workshops will work regardless of what goal planner you plan to use for 2024. Whatever goal planner you have chosen, or maybe you haven't chosen at this point, which is totally fine, but whatever goal planner you decide to go with for 2024, you're gonna be able to use that goal planner and set it up within these workshops. So I will leave all the information linked down below that you can sign up and join us. They're gonna kick off in December. Like I said, there's gonna be 3 live sessions, and I'm just really excited because I know that these sessions were helpful for people last year, and I'm excited to level them up a little bit and also broaden the horizon in terms of people that have access to them. So that is gonna be it for this video. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you liked it and you have a finance goal that you're excited to work on, or maybe not excited, but know you need to work on in 2024, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I have 3 more videos like this one coming for 3 other goal categories, and new videos every week focused on helping you achieve your goals. Thank you so much for watching. You have I'm thinking about something else.